gonna take this.
Well, take it off.
Jesus Christ. First, let me see if I can make it look cute. I do have my fans, you know. Thirst trapping.
Welcome back, everyone. So I want to come on and talk to you guys because a lot of you asked the question, like, how did I get rid of my 9-year destiny swap? And pretty much we're getting to the tail end of the series. We have one more video on tomorrow, and then from there we're just going to be talking about other topics on the channel besides just this. So I don't want y'all to think that we overhauling y'all on this, but these are the questions that people are asking. Okay, so I did not even realize that I was in this situation until probably about 2 weeks ago, and the flood of emotions that came over me from finding this out was very telling to the fact that I feel like something really did happen. So I wanted to come on. Brian's probably just gonna sit here, so for all of y'all that got something to say, the way my man be sitting here not saying nothing, he be in deep thought.
I got something to say.
Say it.
Get off my back.
It's a different world from where you come from.
Hello, everyone. My name is April Butcher. I'm with my husband, Mr. B, and I'm your mother on social, and this is Common Sense on Social, where we give you common sense commentary when it comes to things happening in the world, in pop culture, and in these internet streets. So if that interests you, definitely hit that subscribe button, like this video, and let's get into today's When Will They Learn? So I just wanted to come on and talk to you guys about how I found out that this had happened to me, and then also how did I get out of this destiny swap situation, right? I realized it 2 weeks ago when the video started going viral on YouTube, on TikTok, about the guy trying to touch elbows. Even with the movie Sinners that came out, I haven't seen Sinners yet because, as you guys know, I've been recovering from an ankle surgery, so I didn't want to go in the movie because I don't do well with jump scares and stuff like that, and I didn't want to be jumping in my leg you know, just doing all kind of weird things. So I was like, I'll wait. But even with Brian coming back and talking about the movie Sinners and how basically that, what was it, a guitar that got passed over from one hand to the other was a destiny swap situation, right? And it never dawned on me until I started watching the video about the guy trying to touch elbows with the other gentleman on Bourbon Street. And then I went and did a deep dive into what is this stuff, because I had never heard of it before. And I was watching one young lady's video that I actually shared in my last videos, and she was explaining it in detail. And as she started to explain it, it just so happened something in my house that reminded me of the person who destiny swapped me was sitting on the counter right in front of me. And I looked at it and I instantly went into, like, how do you describe it when I called you?
Distraught.
Hysterical. I called Brian. I was like, I couldn't even talk. Because the minute I saw it and I'm hearing this person online explain it, something in my core of my body connected and told me, and I won't say something, God actually spoke to me and told me this happened. But when I say something, I mean a feeling. There was a feeling that connected with what I was looking at and what I was being told that made it just click. And when I called Brian, or I called my friend first, my girlfriend. I called my girlfriend first. I called her and I was like, God is so good. God is so good. And she was like, girl, what? And she didn't know what it was. And when I started to tell her, she was like, oh, April. And she instantly just started consoling me. She didn't say like, oh, girl, you crazy. Or, you know how some people be like dismissive about it? So I said, let me call Brian, because I didn't want to call Brian at that level of hysteria when I first heard about it. I didn't want to call him right that moment because I knew I was going to scare him because he was at work. And then I called him, and like he said, I sounded distraught. And I started to explain it to him. And for the last couple of months, I just been doing a lot of soul searching and trying to figure out what happened. Because I would tell Brian sometimes, I say, the other person, and you know what somebody said today? God works by himself, but the devil works in groups.
Mm-hmm.
The other person that was working with the person that actually destiny swapped me had did a number on me mentally. My confidence was just gone for the last 9 years. And I would tell Brian, I said, this person ruined me. This person literally ruined me. I cannot get back where I was. I can't get that fire back. Like somebody commented in the comment section and said, oh, I remember Perry Union. Y'all was all on that party bus going somewhere to eat, and y'all was having yourself a good time. And guess what? What I told you. The night of the party bus, that was a big drama.
Mm-hmm.
That was a big caca drama because somebody else wanted to put that on and take credit for putting it on and utilizing my platform of Perry Union to promote their platform. And it was the same person that I told y'all, that I'm telling y'all, destroyed my confidence in that time.
Mm-hmm.
So they was working, y'all. They was working me. Okay? So once that happened 2 weeks ago, immediately, as soon as I hung up the phone with Brian, I told Brian, I said, I'm going in prayer. I'm going in prayer. I didn't go look up online, like from whatever psychic witchcraft people. I don't have time for that. You know, on TikTok, they tell you, oh, you have to go meet somebody and burn candles and do all this weird shit. No. I need to talk to my Father in heaven. Because, you know, a lot of people come in the comment section of these last couple of videos and say stuff like, oh, can't nobody take what God has for me? No, they can't. But at the same time, you can't. It's just like having a house, right? People come in, they look at the curtains, they see what you got. It's just like having an Airbnb. That house belongs to you, but you could literally have somebody come in and take up space and become a squatter in your own house. Does that bring it home for you now? Yeah, the house is mine, but you could literally have somebody come and squat in your life and you have the absolute hell to get them out.
Mm-hmm.
Does it bring it home for y'all now? While y'all smirking and looking down on other people and acting as if my spiritual walk ain't tight, it's just a situation of being extremely naive. Because at that time I was extremely naive to people and like trusting people and thinking people was for me or supporting me. Not for me, but really just supporting me. Because I feel like a lot of times what pisses me off even on jobs is, why can you come to work and tell me about your trips, your cars you buy, things you do with your children, and the minute I share my experiences, all of a sudden now you're jealous and you're envious. So why can't I be happy for people? Why can't people be happy for me? So in that moment, I wait to God in prayer and I ask God in that moment, God, remove it. The literal, like literally, that's the word I'm trying to say. Literally, as soon as I was done with the prayer, and I tell y'all, I pray like I ain't never prayed before for God to remove that person. How they used to do it on TV, move that bus. Move it. Sever that tie. That was the prayer I prayed. Sever that tie. Dismantle that tether. When I tell y'all, after I was done praying, I passed out of sleep. Did I not?
Mm-hmm.
Brian was blowing my phone up. When Brian finally got a hold of me, Brian said, where you was? I said, man, after praying that prayer, it was like I had to sleep. It was almost like coming out of sleep from a damn surgery. That's how much of a deep sleep I was in. Then I had to look at myself and say, okay, we no longer can be trusting with people. We can't be talking. And God had been speaking to me through people telling me it's some generational stuff you have to get rid of. It's some stuff deep down inside. Something been going on for years. People were speaking this to me. It's something that's been going on for years that you don't even know been going on in the background. But you need to get rid of it before you go into your next blessing. I said, okay, Lord. I prayed and I asked God to deliver me. Now it's up to me to keep the door closed. I can't let people come in my house anymore. This is my house. People can't come in my house no more. I'm not talking to people about anything I got going on anymore. If I'm moving, if I'm working, if I'm doing something, that's nobody's business. But I always had that mindset that, like, if you my friend and you telling me about your stuff, I should be able to share those things. But I'm learning, just like I'm teaching y'all, that there's a difference between a confidant and a best friend. And friends and acquaintances. This is my confidant. And if there's things that I can't tell him right that moment that's happening, then I need to get a journal and get to writing. That's another thing. The other thing I had to release, y'all, and people said this in the comment section, and I had to learn to listen. Because sometimes we get easily offended when people say stuff that is a trigger that we know is going down. Mm-hmm. Or that we don't even know what's going down. Somebody mentioned something about we have to stop being a victim. At first, when I read the comment, I was like, I ain't no victim. What the hell are they talking about? But it is a victim mentality. Because you know why I left myself open to a lot of this crap? Because I would say, I had this friend. Every time I meet somebody, I had this friend, or I work with this person, and this person did this to me and left me high and dry. They just used me for my information and moved on. I had this friend. I let her come stay at my house on the weekends. She would say she would help me with my business. She came for 6 months every weekend saying, we'll work on it next weekend. We'll work on it next weekend. Never got done. She ended up ghosting me. I took this person on this trip. They never paid me back my money. They ghosted me. That's the part of being a victim. You don't mentally think you being one, but you are being one by the things that you're saying.
I think oftentimes people use those type of scenarios as blueprints on how to treat you.
Yep.
Blueprints
on how to screw you over.
I think that's how, like, you know, when you're even in a relationship, you know, you tell the next man or the next woman that you meet what you've been through in the past, and then that person assures you, oh, I'll never do that to you, and that's what you want to hear at that moment. So now that person fits the box that you want to put them in order to be with them, and then turns out down the road that person finds a way to throw up that situation in your face and uses it against you. And that's how they know how to treat you, because you done told them all the things you've been through. And then the person that tries to do the swap with you catches you in a moment of vulnerability, where your senses are not high and your guard is down, and then it comes across as, oh, I'm trying to help, and who doesn't want help? You know, who's going to say no to that? But that person is just steadily looking for the opportunity to sink their teeth in.
And they know their way to get out. Because you done told them.
Exactly.
This person ghosted you. That
and
person
that's
ghosted you.
how they do it. They just stop communicating, and then eventually you get frustrated, and then you say you don't care, but the damage is done at that point.
The damage is done. I'm trying to think of the other. There's another thing that I did within the last 2 weeks that helped out a lot. Oh, the most important thing is my mindset changed. Because I realized this was an energy that was placed on me. And it was different from any other time where I say, I'm going to get up and I'm going to work on my content. I'm going to get up and I'm going to do this. I'm going to get up. Today is going to be a new day. I feel great about myself. I'm going to get this done. And every single time I let myself down, every single time, I couldn't figure out why. Now, I feel that now that I feel that this connection is broken, because I can actually feel it. I could feel that heaviness or that cloak or that shadow that was on me is gone. But I just feel like I can, like, post this. I feel like I can mentally motivate myself to get things done. Like, I'm present here every day. If it ain't nothing else I'm gonna do, like we just went eat dinner, I told Brian I gotta record. I gotta get this video out. Before releasing this, I would have been like, I'll just do a video tomorrow. I'm not worried about it. So to sum it all up, I'll say you have to be aware of it. It's not just saying, oh, I think somebody did this to me. You need to figure out at what point in your life did stuff fall off the shelf. That's what I used to tell Brian. I say, it felt like the books fell off the shelf and they never got put back correctly. You have to, like, actually narrow it down and single out that time and the person. You have to pray to remove that off of you. I mean, pray like you ain't never prayed before, to remove that off of you. Whatever tether, whatever chain, whatever hold they have in your life, you pray for God to release that from you. And you release it. Because I'm telling you, after I prayed that prayer, Brian is my witness. I tell y'all, for about 4-5 days after that happened, that would come back in my mind. That person ain't did that to you. That really didn't happen. I kid y'all not, that was speaking in my mind. Every time it came, I said, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. God, remove this off of me. It was almost like that tether was still trying to attach itself. It was trying to leech itself on. If I gave it the opportunity to, or the permission to live in my brain, I would still be in the same position. Then you have to look at yourself as not being a victim. Stop giving people the blueprint on how to screw you over. Okay? Stop doing that. Then lastly, you need to have the mindset that it's gone. You receive that it's gone. You believe that it's gone. And you start working to finding yourself again. Trust me, God is going to bless you. And the minute you realize, the moment you realize who it is, a flood of emotions is going to hit you like a ton of bricks. It's going to hit you like a ton of bricks. Because sometimes it's the least person you expect. Anything else you want to say?
I think you've given a story. You've given scenarios. You've given a lot of information about this. And even in the midst of all of that, there's going to still be people in the comment section to say that that's not that is this, that's a battle between spiritual, and that was the devil, and all these other different things. I'm sorry that, we come here with, I guess, in some people's eyes, limited education as to what we talk about. But we can only talk about realistic, real life events that has transpired in our life and how we got
our experiences
and got through it. And I think that's the thing people have to realize. When a person has a channel and they're speaking on their experiences, who are you to discredit what their experience is, because you haven't experienced it? Perhaps maybe something that was said is to help avoid that pitfall in your life. Take it as such. But we got to get off of being so judgmental, because what's meant for you is meant for you. And what's going to happen to you is going to happen to you. Yeah. And if it hasn't happened yet, thank the Lord for that.
Yes, Lord.
But when it does, what's going to be your testimony?
Exactly.
So let's stop doing that, and let's really take it for what it's worth. Because, and we've said this on previous videos, a pastor can get up in front of the congregation and preach. And he could preach one sermon, and every single person in there will get something different out of it. But he preached the same thing. It's all about where you are in your life, what situations you're going through, what's your end game on how you're going to receive what's said. Some people be like, oh, he ain't talking to me because I ain't never. Well, you already in the wrong spot because you're too perfect to be there.
Exactly.
Everybody has sinned and fall short, the Bible says. So at the end of the day, we all have things that we wrestle with.
Yeah, go ahead.
We all have things that we go through. But at the end of the day, be open-minded to the situation and look at it from a standpoint of acknowledging what it is. Because if you keep downplaying it and saying, oh, that's not what it is, I'm just lazy, or I just can't get out of my own head, you're going to be a slave to it.
Yeah.
And I think that's where April's breakthrough came in, because after she was able to acknowledge it, she was then able to devise a plan on how to get out of it. And I think that's the problem. When we don't know what our problem is, how can you have a solution? You got to first identify the problem, isolate it, put it in a place where you know I can deal with it. Keep it in front of you. Don't let it get behind you. And then once you're able to do that, then you're able to see the breakthrough. And I think that's what it took. And yeah, it might have taken her many years, but thank God for the breakthrough. Doesn't matter if it happens in 1 day, 9 days, 10 days, 10 years. As long as you get it and you get right back on the path of where you need to be, because she was a half of herself during that time. You know, you could see the light, but it's like a light is only as bright as you let it be. If you put your hand over it, it's not as bright as it would be if your hand wasn't there. So her light was steadily shining, but it was covered by something.
Right.
So now she's getting to fully get that experience back. And to her, it's like a great thing. It's like a new beginning. It's like and you'll feel that when you experience it yourself.
Breathe. Could breathe.
It's like when you have to burp and I'm just joking. You drink that Coke.
And you know what it is too? A lot of people sit here and be like, you know, I know there's a lot of people that judge, you know, and I'm thankful that I'm not worried about that, because I'm trying to help as many people as possible, so I could care less what somebody thinks. Like, you know, things they'll say like, oh, well, you wasn't strong in Christ. If you was strong in Christ, you would. Child, please. Like, please spare me. Because I remember many days going to the tent revivals. Remember them tent revivals when we was young? And the pastor, they bring somebody up in there possessed, and the pastor would say, if you ain't strong, get up out of here. If there's any children up in here, get up out of here, before they start casting out them spirits. So please, all they need is a window in. They just need a window in. And during that time when this happened to me, I was in a space where I felt like I needed people's help, because the event was not selling at first. But the minute a person signed on that was a big name, everybody and their mama wanted to jump on the bandwagon and be a part of the event. So it in that moment, it's almost like I felt like, oh, I need people to like co-sign me, or I need people to help push me. When in actuality, girl, you was already doing it.
Yep. They was looking for something to propel them.
Exactly. That's what everybody used it for. That was the whole entire big, let me say it, shit of the event, was the fact that so many people was eating off of me. Nobody was paying me anything. Nobody was like giving me anything. They was all eating off of me. And looking back on it, that's the thing that used to eat away at me all the time. Why this person come to me and want my help, and then they don't help me? Why this person? That stayed with me for 9 years. Now I could give a damn less. Where they at now? Where all of them at now?
And it's funny because
can't come back here.
It's funny because all those people who tried to get on your coat sleeves and pull on them at that time have all met their demise in their own way, and she had nothing to do with it. She never prayed against them, never wanted negative for him, wanted nothing but the best for him, would still reach out to him even after being treated that way, and was checking on him and saying, hey, this is your gift, this is what you should do, always trying to help others in the midst of her going through it. And that's the thing that I could truly say, being on the outside, because I've never been a big social media person. I always try to be behind the scenes, but I know from the days of the beginning of the prayer union and how she had that vision, and there was so many people that was on there, but no one had the idea to bring all these people together and let them have a chance to network and meet all these wise people with all these different followings, and I'm a coach, and this is a class, and I sell $99 courses. All these people with all this money, extravagant dreams, never thought something so simple as, let's gather under the same roof and share our knowledge give those who are trying to get a platform, a space and a place to speak candidly and openly and sell themselves. Because that's basically what she did. She gave each person a platform to jumpstart what they were trying to do.
Yes,
they had got a chance to present themselves, talk about what made them them, kind of like a lot of like Comic-Cons and all these other things you hear about, but it was on a scale of one individual who was able to gather some sponsorships and produce a tremendous event. The testimonials of people who said, you know, oh, April, you did such a great job. Now I want you to know this. I'm her husband, but even some of the ideas and plans that she had, I didn't even know. It was, and not to make this video too long, but these people that were keynote speakers had hair and makeup and all this stuff done for them.
Yeah, we had hair and makeup in the green room.
They had
free food.
They had tons of food, screenings, all kind of stuff that was there that you just can't do if you just an average Jane or an average Joe trying to throw something together. This was a major production from someone who did not have a ton of money at the time. She wasn't a YouTuber who was bringing in $100,000 a month. It wasn't that kind of lifestyle. She was supplementing that with her own career. So in the midst of working a real job, she was working this job. And when she talks about the sacrifice and why she's so happy now is because what you don't know is, in order to make that dream happen, she had to separate herself from her family in order to make that dream happen. And when she separated herself from the family to work and do a travel job, that was some of the key months and years into Madison's development, to the point where on the day when she was supposed to be at home, she was out working and missed a very crucial thing in Madison's life that we don't have to share, but just know that it was very important. So there, with that, and in the midst of all that, was a lot of sacrifice. And then when you come at the ending of this and you find out that somebody meant you no good during that time and did that, well, that's just like a double slap in the face, because you already feel bad because of the things you missed. Now you're missing out on things after because somebody else's deception and their greed. And to be able to see that is why there was such a flood of emotion. And by me being her husband, you know, it's hard to see a person change in front of you. And you try to remain positive, because oftentimes they would be like, you can tell me the truth. You can tell me that I'm this. You can tell me that I'm that. But would that really make things better? So we hope that, you know, with this follow-up video and this last bit of information that she's given, we hope that somebody can get it, can understand it, ingest it, and help somebody else if something happens that you see, or if it's happening to you. Identify your situation and find your ways to try to get out of it. But at the end of the day, you're going to need someone to support you. You're going to need someone to tell you, hey, you know what? If you don't, nobody else got your back, I got your back. And I'm very thankful that at this time we had each other, and it helps make the process easier. But when you're by yourself, it's tough.
Yeah. Well, I thank you guys for joining and listening to my little soapbox and my little deliverance and my testimony service, because it feels really good to share this with you guys and for you guys to receive it well, and that this is helping you guys. Like, you have no idea, like those of you that have been riding with me for a while, to see us get to 49K in such a short time is like amazing to me. And it's amazing that we have so many new faces here, so many new people here, and so much new content to talk about. You know, I'm just really excited to share more with you all. We have another video coming up soon where I'm going to share with you this test. It's not a life test, it's an actual test you take that is going to help you soar with figuring out any issues you have at your job, any issues in life with people, any direction you need to go through to get to college. This is for every XYZer, okay? And XYZer is what I call you guys, because we got Generation X, Generation Z, which is millennials, and Generation Y, which is millennials, and Generation Z, okay? Watching these videos to learn. So I love all of you guys. I appreciate all of y'all. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, you all. And we'll see you in the next video, honey.
Different do-rag, baby. I'm just joking, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.